Hello friends, welcome to the Point. In today's session, we'll be discussing about languages in India. The writings of human beings during the entire history, it has reflected the culture, lifestyle and society and the polity of our contemporary society. And in this process, each culture emerged. And each culture, it had its own language and it created a huge literary base. And what is this language? Language means it is a system of communication through a speech. You can say it's a collection of sound that a group of people understand to have a same meaning. So a language family, it includes individual languages that is related through a common ancestors and that existed before the recorded history. Dialect. So dialect, it is a form of language that is spoken in local area. There are several dialects and it can be derived from a particular language. The languages spoken around the various corners of India, they belong to several languages families where most of them belong to Indo-Aryan group of languages. And this Indo-Aryan group, it has been born out of Indo-European family. And there are some languages groups which are indigenous to Indian subcontinent itself. Now let's classify Indian languages. In Indian languages, it is classified into 6 types. They are Indo-Aryan group, Dravidian group, Sino-Tibetan group, Negroid, Austric and others. And among this, in this session, we'll study specifically about Indo-Aryan group and Dravidian group. Indo-Aryan group of languages. So this group of language, it is a larger Indo-European family and it came to India with the advent of Aryans. And we can say this is the largest language group of India, and about 74% of the Indians speak these languages which belong to Indo-Aryan group. And this language group, it is again subdivided into 3 groups depending upon the time period of their origin and so on. And among that, the first group is Old Indo-Aryan group. So this group, it had its development around 1500 BC, and Sanskrit, it was born out of this group. The ancient form of Sanskrit is what we find in Vedas and all those things. Upanishads, Puranas, Dharma Sutras, they are all written in Sanskrit language. So we can say that Sanskrit is the mother of many Indian languages. So the understanding of diversity and richness of our culture, it has been possible all because of the development of Sanskrit language during those times, and it is most ancient language of our country, and it is one of the 22 scheduled languages listed in the constitution. Development of Sanskrit. The development of Sanskrit grammar, it began with Panini in 400 BC with his book called Astadhyayi, which is the oldest book in Sanskrit grammar. Some Buddhist literatures which belongs to Mahayana and Hinayana school, they are also written in Sanskrit language. And the book called Mahavastu of the Hinayana school, it is a treasure of stories. Lalita Vistara. This is the most sacred Mahayana text, and Ashwagosha's Buddha Charita were also written in Sanskrit. Remember, Sanskrit is the only language that transcended the barriers of region and boundaries. From north to south and from east to west, there is no part in India that has not contributed to Sanskrit language. Each and every part of our country, it has some effect with Sanskrit language. The first evidence of the use of the Sanskrit language, it can be found in the inscriptions of Rudradhamana at Junagadh in the present southern Gujarat region. And during the Gupta period, use of Sanskrit in poetries, it can be traced. And this Gupta period, it is a creation of pure literature, which shows its evidence in the works of Mahakavyas, that is epics, and Kandakavyas, that is semi-epics. So many of the places were developed during Gupta period, and it is written in Sanskrit. And it is to be noted that one of the features of these places was the use of Sanskrit language by the characters of high Varna, and the use of Prakrit language by women and Shudras. Middle Indo-Aryan group. So this period of development of this subgroup, it is between 600 BC to 1000 AD, and it started with the development of Prakrit language. Prakrit, it is understood to mean natural, original, casual, and so on. So this explains that Prakrit did not have strict rules of usage, and it was a common tongue. So Prakrit, it is a broader term under which all the Middle Indo-Aryan group languages, they are generally clubbed together. So many languages such as Ardha Magadhi, Pali, Apabhramsa, they find their origin from Prakrit language. So Prakrit and Ardha Magadhi language, they were used in the Jain Agamas. And it is very important to note that the period of transition from one language or the period of transition from one dialect to another, it is slow, and it cannot be separated into a strict chronological periods. Prakrit includes Pali, Magadhi Prakrit or Ardha Magadhi, Shauraseni, Maharashtri Prakrit, Ilu, and Paisachi. So coming to Pali, so this Pali language, it is widely spoken in Magadha, and it was popular during 5th to 1st century BC. So Pali language, it is closely related to Sanskrit, and the texts in Pali were written generally in Brahmi script. Magadhi Prakrit or Ardha Magadhi. So this is the most important kind of Prakrit, and its literary use, it increased after the decline of Sanskrit and Pali language. 1000 AD, and started with development of Prakrit language. Buddha and Mahavira, they spoke in Ardha Magadhi, and it was a court language of few Mahajanapadas and also the Mauryan dynasty. Several Jain texts and rock edicts of Ashoka, they were also written in Ardha Magadhi language. Shauraseni. So it is widely used to write dramas in medieval India. and it is a predecessor to northern Indian languages. Jain monks, they wrote mainly in this version of Prakrit. Maharashtri Prakrit. So this language, it is widely used in western and southern India, and it was the official language of Satavahana dynasty. Several dramas were written in it, like Gahakosha, which was written by King Hala, and Gaudavaho, and this was written by Vakpati. Elu, this is an ancient form of modern Sinhala language of Sri Lanka, and this Elu language, it is similar to Pali language. Paisachi, it is also called Buddha Bhasa, which means dead language. Gunadhya's Brihat Katha, an ancient epic, it is written in this Paisachi language. And the dialect of Paisachi, it is considered to be unimportant, which is not important. Apabhramsa. So by 6th and 7th century, the development of Apabhramsa took place. Apabhramsa means corrupt or non-grammatical. Apabhramsa, it is an umbrella term which means dialects other than Sanskrit or even Prakrit. Apabhramsa gradually became a literary language which was used to write several texts. And by 7th century, Apabhramsa developed its own identity. Bhamaha, he is a renowned poet of 6th or 7th century of Kashmir, and he divided poetry into Sanskrit, Prakrit and Apabhramsa. And Dandin, he said that Apabhramsa is a dialect of common people. Many Jain monks and scholars, they wrote in Apabhramsa and they sustained it. The major texts and writers are Pushpatadanta's Mahapurana, this Digambara Jain text, and Dhanapala's Bhavishyatakaha, and so on. Modern Indo-Aryan groups. The languages that belongs to this group are Hindi, Assamese, Bengali, Gujarati, Marathi, Punjab, Rajasthani, Sindhi, Odia, Urdu and so on. So the languages under this subgroup, it is developed after 1000 AD, and these languages, they are mainly spoken in northern, western and eastern parts of India. So in the next session, let's discuss about Dravidian and Sino-Tibetan group. Thank you.